Hi friends, and welcome to day 3 of my restorative yoga challenge. I am doing a seated forward fold for this pose with props to support, and it's really going to help release and lengthen my legs. I think that I tend to store some tension there, and this pose is going to help me to melt it out a little bit. You're going to want to use a mat with a blanket, or you could do this from bed. Honestly, you could actually just do it straight from the floor. The one thing I will say is that if you have tight hamstrings, then you're going to want an extra blanket or cushion to go under your seat. I'm personally going to use a foam block. We're going to be sitting with our legs as wide as is comfortable, but I'm also going to be using some extra blankets to go under my knees rolled up. I find that the extra height helps me to release my legs. And I'm going to use one bolster for this version of the pose, but you could alternatively use a couple bolsters or bed pillows, and you might want an extra blanket as well if you need some extra height. And just lighting a candle to ritualize the space. And so for this pose, we're just going to come onto the floor or the bed and onto this small seat using the foam block or blanket or pillow as an extra lift for the seat. Maybe rolling something under the knee to give extra support. Keep the legs as wide as you need to. And then we're going to come down onto the bolster. So I just have one bolstered for this pose, so I'm going to place it vertically under me with the flat side near my head. And I'm going to bring my head down onto the bolster and hold on to it. Alternatively, you could stack a couple of bed pillows the other way, so horizontally, and maybe add an extra blanket or two to reach your forehead, and then you could come down that way and really release your back and your spine. Doing the pose with our forehead coming into contact with the bolster or the blanket can really help with introspection and mental agitation. So this is a great pose to do for anxiety. If you have hamstring tears or back issues, lower back pain, you might want to elevate certain areas of your body a little bit more, or honestly skip this pose. It might not feel good at all. I'm just going to offer some, imagery to settle into the pose. Coming into contact with the bolster, just imagining the thoughts dripping off your forehead down into the bolster. What's bothered you today? What's made you sad today? Just letting it all wash down. And we all have things in our day-to-day that make us feel uncomfortable, make us feel off, things that are worrying us, things that are preoccupying us. With our head on the bolster, just really imagining those thoughts traveling down into the bolster instead of staying with us in our mind, just dropping like gravity, flowing like water through the bolster, through the contact of our forehead. And you might also notice the tension maybe in your shoulders. So I'm going to be focusing on relaxing my shoulders in this pose, maybe adjusting my grip on the bolster when needed. Whenever I feel like I'm starting to tense my arms a little bit more, how can I really release? Noticing your shoulders, noticing where they're holding you up. It takes a lot of effort to hold the bolster or to, support our front body. So just noticing maybe if your shoulders feel tense, if you're gripping the bolster harder than you need to, where can you soften into your shoulders and your arms as well and really encourage the front body to relax? Noticing if you need to increase your support, noticing if you're exerting yourself at all. It's totally okay to adjust mid pose, to add some extra props. We don't have to be perfectly in the posture. This isn't like a competitive gym class. This is really a moment where you're encouraged to let go as much as possible. So we don't want the body to feel like it has to do so much work that we can't relax. For me, if I'm noticing that my legs are feeling strained, I'm just going to adjust the blankets and make them a little bit higher. So I have the blankets under my knees to just help encourage my legs to feel held. And if I'm noticing that I'm using my leg muscles to hold me in place, I'm really going to focus on feeling the blankets underneath my thighs and my knee. And I know that I don't actually need to keep myself in place. Gravity, the props, my body's posture, they'll do all that for me. It's really my body's own inability to feel at ease, which is making this pose hard for me. So when I'm noticing that, I'm just breathing into it and I feel a tiny softening. I'm going to keep breathing into it and just focusing on really relaxing the body. And eventually in this pose, I feel a shift where it's almost like a rope in my leg has been loosened a little bit. I feel almost like a dropping sensation. And this is when I know that it's been worth it to hold the pose. This is letting go. And for me, I also find that when I feel my hands on my thighs and, give myself that contact with my legs physically, it can just add an extra support feeling, an extra encouragement to really let them release and to like sink into the floor a little bit more. So we're going to gently come out of the pose if you're with me this far, just gently releasing our forehead from the bolster, maybe stretching your arms a little. I like to push the bolster forward just to give my arms and my shoulders and my back a little bit of a stretch. It can also feel nice if you spend most of this pose elevated to really sink the front body forwards and down, not worrying about curving the spine, just really relaxing onto the bolster. And of course, when we release the bolster, it will feel really great just to stretch out the legs, give them a shake, release any tension, maybe stretch a little bit, just feeling into the length that we've created in the pose. Once I got up to turn off the recording, I went into my kitchen and I noticed that my legs felt a lot lighter. It's only when I hold this pose for a while do I notice how much tension that I keep in my thighs and my knees. Hamstrings feel quite tight, and so I always wonder what I'm storing there. And doing this pose, it's really an encouragement to let go of whatever that is.